go where I want and I do what I want. My belt match the kicks, don't you go bunny.
Empty to the Jeep, man. Who you think it gonna be? And I'm back with the best reaction channel on YouTube that wouldn't be possible without YouTube. Now, the title of this video is going to be ex-NBA star, strangely connected murder and illegal activities. But before we get in this video, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But if you're one of my day ones, go ahead and hit a like and drop a comment like you always do. Now, without wasting any time, let's get into it.
Well, I think if I owed someone some money, I think I'll pay it up.
Yeah, you're a good poker player, right?
Yes.
So you just have.
No, I play poker on my phone or on my computer. It's just DVD. You know, I'm playing against the computer. So, you know, if I lose, I just reset the game.
Gilbert Arenas presented by Underdog. Whoa. I think when Stephen A. Smith came, it was a big moment for us, for what we do right now in the media, and to have somebody his caliber come on here and talk.
Let's move on to Swaggy P. The very first time I smoked, the resource like honey or syrup or something on the blunt to make it burn slower. I was 18. I didn't know no better.
Better time, ladies and gentlemen.
And that shit lasted forever. And I was stupid high. And I think I went to sleep while they were still smoking it.
Kind of like moon rock.
Yeah.
Slow down the burn.
Yeah.
Nothing but rock comes towards my face.
No rock. All right.
You was conceived on rock.
This is the 80s, baby.
I don't understand what we're doing. Are we just seeing background of who Gilbert Arenas is? Because we definitely know who he is.
We all got a little rock in us.
Has emerged that could lead to some new clues about a missing Culver City mom, Heidi Plank. The new video shows her walking her dog in an alley in downtown LA several hours after her friends saw her in Downey.
This surveillance video, released by a resident in downtown LA, shows 39-year-old Heidi Plank walking her dog in an alley behind the Hope and Flower building around 6:30 the night of October 17th.
NBA star Gilbert Arenas has been arrested and is now facing federal charges for allegedly running an illegal gambling ring out of his San Fernando Valley home.
Wizards player is accused of renting out his Encino mansion on Gable Drive for the illegal games, which were allegedly hosted by his co-conspirators. According to court documents, Arenas texted one of his co-conspirators this picture of a poker table in connection to the games.
You better not.
Wait, you can't play poker with your friends at the house? What constitutes an actual ring? We gotta get to the bottom of this.
Can't hold me, baby. You can't hold me. Hello.
From NBA All-Star to federal courtroom, a man that's once known as Agent Zero on the court has now been identified as Agent Zero by the feds, linked to organized crime, illegal gambling, and strangely tied to the disappearance of a young mom who was last seen gambling at an event hosted by one of his co-defendants. Now, the strange part of the timing about all this comes just weeks after a federal judge had dismissed a civil lawsuit involving a mysterious incident inside his Encino home. The feds came knocking again, this time with an indictment. But this wasn't just about cars and cash. One of his co-defendants is a suspected Israel mobster. Now, keep in mind, this is a man who some D.C. residents would tell you that was the Wizards' best player. Gilbert had just bounced back. He made a name for himself in media, went viral for podcasting, and was winning with his kids. His son even committed to USC. But now, the spotlight has shifted from the studio to the courtroom. And trust me, this mansion isn't just where they were playing poker. It might be where the game turned deadly. So today, we go over Gilbert Arenas' story, his rise to fame, his recent endeavors, recent lawsuit, and the recent indictment and his response within the last 24 hours. But before we go over this one, I want you guys to remember, I don't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll jump right to it. Gilbert Arenas entered the NBA in 2001 with something to prove. A second-round pick who quickly became a third-time All-Star. Some considered the king of clutch buckets. They called him Agent Zero, the man who turned doubters into believers, once living inside a car at a local park with his dad.
We always ask our guests what their biggest pivot is. That's that one moment in your life that without that happening, you wouldn't be who you are today.
Probably Sherman Oaks Park. My dad was sitting on the bench trying to figure out what his next move is. And a lady walked up to him and said, "Is that your son?" And it's like, "Yeah." She was like, "He's a very happy kid. You guys been at the park? You guys sleeping here?" And he was like, "Yeah, you know, just trying to figure out how to get like $1,200. I already have a job. You know, a guy's gonna help me work the building, like maintenance." And he said, "You know, I just need $1,200 to secure the room." And she was like, "Is this a real thing?" And he was like, "Yeah, you know, here's the person's number. So they called the guy, and he's like, yeah, if he can get the down payment, I can put him in, and he has a job. It's just the down payment. And she was like, okay, as soon as I get home, I'll, whatever, give you the money. And the lady gave him the money, and that's how we got into our first apartment.
Wow.
And then from there, the stable life is, what everybody needs sometimes. So I would say that would be the pivot moment of my life, because if not, I would have been in Florida.
Shout out to that woman out there. You are definitely going to be in the gates of heaven. But isn't that crazy though? That also opens up the door for things like that, because they are accusing this man of doing some pretty heinous things. So what happens if you do help somebody and that person turns out to be Hitler? Like, you know what I'm saying? You're like, oh shit, like maybe I should have never helped that person be stable. Like, helping is a two-way street though. Like, well, I'm not definitely ever comparing Gilbert to Hitler, by the way. Let's go.
Probably been a football player. Mike Williams was my best friend when I was growing up.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Our grandmas lived right across the street from each other, so that was the guy I played with. So we was football, baseball.
Gilbert Arenas was special, but his biggest play wouldn't be on the court. It would be in 2009. He bought a firearm in the Wizards' locker room during a gambling dispute with teammates Jarvis Crent. The moment changed his...
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. That was Gilbert Arenas. And the funny part about that is that was over another gambling situation. I'm like, you know what? There's always been some small signs. Actually, now you think about it.
His career forever. Suspension, charges, and a permanent stain on his legacy. Now, apparently, the conflict stemmed from a card game on a team plane where Arenas and Critton were reportedly arguing over gambling debt. Arenas brought the unloaded guns to the locker room, and Critton reportedly bought a loaded gun as well. Ironically enough, gambling was involved. The incident led to suspension from both players by the NBA commissioner, David Stern. May he rest in peace. Arenas was suspended for the remainder of the season and later served a 50-game suspension. Critton was also suspended for the remainder of the season. Both players' careers were significantly impacted. Critton never played in the NBA again after the suspension, and Arenas' performance declined, and he eventually left the league after the 2011-2012 season. When it came to the legal trouble, both players faced legal consequences, pleading guilty to weapon charges. Critton later faced more serious legal trouble, being sentenced to prison for a fatal shooting in 2011. Gilbert Arenas once talked about this on Vlad, as he mentioned he had to spend 30 days in a halfway house and 2 years of probation, and why he felt like his punishment was unfair. But before I let you hear his response, I end up coming across a clip, and I want you guys to check out. It's less than 60 seconds. It's basically Gilbert Arenas being asked in 2009 about the gun incident alongside a poker match, which crazy enough, 16 years later.
That is so funny because I just keep remembering him say, the interviewer, the reporter asking him, hey, do you play poker or gamble a lot? And he's like, only online. Like, it was only on the video games on my phone, this computer. And every time you see him, he gambling somewhere for real life.
He's accused of running an illegal poker gambling spot at his LA home. And most would think, from the eye looking in and not knowing the details, somebody lost money and end up telling on Gilbert Arenas, which might be true, but it led to a whole lot more.
I think if I owed someone some money, I think I'll pay it up.
Maybe you're a good poker player, right?
Yes.
Just interview.
No, I play poker on my phone or on my computer. It's just DVD. I'm playing against the computer. So
DVD. I don't even know
if I lose, I just reset the game.
You just shoot up money.
Huh?
Basketball for money, right?
No, I don't gamble. Online, I don't do any of that.
I just
we got bad poker players.
Have you spoken? Because at one point you were suspended indefinitely without pay until the investigation was complete. And then you were charged on January 15th to the felony of carrying an unlicensed pistol outside a home or business. Well, you and Clinton were both suspended for the rest of the season after meeting with Stern.
Yeah, after meeting with him.
Yeah. You wrote a letter to the Washington Post apologizing, because you let the kids down. And on March of that year, you got convicted. And you got 2 years probation and 30 days in a halfway house. Which they're saying is a little bit unfair.
What? Unfit, man. You got caught with a unregistered pistol. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, don't have a record, not on probation, parole, no record, but you got a unlicensed pistol. I guess it was just possession. No, you got love, bro. At least in California, that's love, bro.
Unfair. Yeah, I know.
In terms of
Fuck yeah, that was unfair. Fucking 2 years probation and fucking 30 days in a halfway house, and the only thing I did was claim that they're mine.
Right.
I just said they were mine. I didn't say I fucking bugged them shits.
Right, because Creighton received a year of unsupervised probation. And then if you compare it to, like, for example, Delonte West, who was caught with a whole bunch of guns, just had 8 months of home detention, 2 months of unsupervised probation, 40 hours community service. So you actually ended up in a damn halfway house.
Because of this. The story was so big, right? The story's so big.
The balloon. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so big. Because this was the conversation I had with Stern. What are you actually suspending me for? I said, what are you suspending me for? And I said, I've researched every gun violation in the NBA. I said, you have Telfair. He had a loaded gun on the plane. 3 games. Telfair, loaded gun on the bus. And I said, that's a loaded gun, 3 games. I said, Steven Jackson shot his gun. Mind you, it's not on NBA property, but I can guarantee you that if we had to say which one is worse, unloaded guns is far. I'd rather have unloaded guns in the locker room versus someone actually shooting a gun in my. So I said, he got.
Why do people always do that when they get in trouble? They be like, somebody else did it and got less punishment, so technically they did me greasy. I'm like, no, that's not how punishments work. I mean, I guess it should be, but it's not.
7 games.
But didn't Jason Williams get caught shooting a gun in like the arena parking lot or something like that, or something of that sort?
I think he shot like his driver.
No, that came later on. But before then, there was some other gun shit. Like, Jason Williams had a thing for guns.
So I was like, so I said, the most you can suspend me is for claiming something? 1 game? And I said, because at the end of the day, all I have to say is, those are not my guns. They're not mine. How are you going to prove they are?
But you already said they're yours.
Yeah, I can return it. Y'all calling me a liar, so I can say they're not mine. You're not going to have any. There's not going to be any fingerprints of mine on there. Yeah. So I was like, so what are you going to spend? I said, I'll take 1 game. 2 games? No, I'm not taking 2 games. And that was my stance when I went to go talk to Stern.
Right, but it didn't work out that way, though.
Because they suspended me for detrimental mental. So that's how they got away with it. Because they couldn't suspend me for a gun because what am I violating? Because I didn't touch anything.
Yeah.
I said they were mine.
Right, but it became a media circus at that point. You actually had a
detrimental mental? Yeah. What did it say? They suspended you for detrimental mental?
Yeah.
Gil Zero ended up dropping you over that.
Because of the felony. It was part of my contract if I agreed to a felony.
Exactly. And I guess after that, you ended up wearing like Dolce & Gabbana shoes on the court. You just lost, you just
I just wore all the shoes I've ever collected.
Basically. Designer, whatever. And, like rappers started name dropping you in songs. Rick Ross and I'm a Boss said, better check the stats we fill in arenas. I got the Gats, Gilbert Arenas. 2 Chainz said, Patron Margaritas, double for my
I think Jay-Z was first.
I bring all my guns to work, Gilbert Arenas.
After falling from the greats in the league, Gilbert reinvented himself online. His sports takes were bold. His storytelling was unmatched. He became a podcast star, dropping gems, controversy, and wisdom. Meanwhile, his son making headlines of his own. A basketball prodigy recruited by USC. Then came a devastating car crash and a freak injury at school pushed back his freshman season. But Gilbert stood by him, sharing the struggle and the recovery online. On his hot platform, Gil's Arena. It looked like things were finally falling back in place for Gilbert Arenas and his legacy.
Much. Like, he was fine one day, and then he was hurt the next. He was doing bleacher work, and it said he was running the bleachers trying to get in shape for an hour, and he must have irritated on the bleachers. These 4, 5, 6 months, he should learn how to sit down, rest, to listen to his body, understand that as much training you do, you gotta recover. He realized he got that part of the gene that just wants to work. And he has to understand you can't work out 4, 5 times a day. School and all that. He ain't trying to, like with me, I told him, nigga, I didn't go to school. You know what I mean? I trained. Back in my days, school was for fools. You should know, everybody who got a A on the team, they didn't make it. They went to study hall. I went to the gym. I had an 0.2 and a 0.3. If I go back to school, goddamn it, I'm a freshman. He probably got more credits than me.
Now, with people who once allegedly
funny.
affiliated or associated with Gilbert Arenas seeing his success, he had a lawsuit. Behind the scenes, trouble was brewing again.
Funny.
In late 2024, Gilbert was hit with a federal civil lawsuit. The location is Encino Mansion, which happens to be the same location he allegedly hosts Gil's
It's actually Encino. The way he keeps saying that is really bothering the hell out of me, but all right.
arena. The details were vague, but the lawsuit requested $150 million in damages. That mansion, the one Gilbert Arenas claimed he simply rented out, was at the center, but the same one that was raided by the feds. But I want to hold fast. I end up looking up that lawsuit on Pacer, and let's go over the details. Now, the person who sued him was Reuben Byrne. Strangely enough, he put a P.O. box as his address in Imperial, California. And this man's slick, fam. Remember, the feds say he was allegedly associated
Why are you putting that man's P.O. box on the
with the mob. As his zip code, he put one, crossed it out, and put another 3 numbers, as if though he don't really want you to be able to get in contact with him. And strangely enough, Gil was sued for an alleged incident that happened 8 years ago in 2017. The plaintiff had claimed forgery. And at this point, I don't know if Gil written units out because he claims that the address that this happened at was the same address he put as his address, just with a P.O. box 211 for his personal information. In 2024, the plaintiff claimed he rented out 19W 8 Gate Road from Gilbert Arenas back in February of 2017. An hour and a half later, he raised rent $100 without tenants' agreement and excused their handwriting or therefore process. Fence of more than a half a yard, violating tenants' privacy, coming over average of 2 times a month. He said he raised the rent, Gilbert Arenas that is, because of the water. But say lease/rentals contract owners pays for the water. Landlord Gilbert Arenas got my signature from somewhere and posted it on the back page and took Reuben Byrne off the rental agreement. The landlord wrote my wife's name, himself. Past 6 years, I've been paying $700. Note, $600 was the original agreement. Now he's evicting me with illegal documentation and poisons one of my daughter's pets, Turkey. Now, by the looks of it, this person didn't have an attorney when doing this lawsuit. But strangely enough, on June 25th, 2025, this case was dismissed because the plaintiff failed to articulate either federal question or diversity jurisdiction. The court grants defendant's motion to dismiss. And at that point, as always, the clerk of court is directed to close this case, in which they did. But ironically enough, the month after, Gilbert Arenas would get arrested by the feds for a probe at that same home. And if we being real, if Gil only charging somebody $600 to $700, he doing them a favor. But could Rory Motions probe a jealous individual to go to the feds about information they think they know? Then come July 30th, 2025, Gilbert Arenas and 5 others were arrested. The charge? Running an illegal gambling operation. The feds say it wasn't just
wait. When did you get arrested?
Running an of 2025. Go to the feds about information they think they know. Then come July 30th, 2025.
Yesterday.
Gilbert Arenas and 5 others were arrested. The charge? Running an illegal gambling operation. The feds say it wasn't just poker. It was a full-fledged underground casino with massage girls, private chefs, armed security, and thousands in cash moving nightly. The games? Hot Limit Omaha. The location? The same mansion in Encino. Suspects was Eugenie Greshamman, 49 years old, a.k.a. Gora, of Woodland Hills, a suspected organized crime figure from Israel. Evgeny Cherkashiki, 48 years old, a.k.a. Eugene, of Tanzania. Island, Austria, 52 years old, a.k.a. Alicia, of West Hills. Urine Cohen, 27 years old, a.k.a. YC, of Tanzania. And Levagine Crucian, 43 years old, of Tanzania. And if we've been real, Gilbert Arenas has to be only affiliated by solely someone just renting out that home. But you could tell this is someone who allegedly know Gil from the outside looking in and know that was taking place. Because TMZ allegedly had a picture of Gil's poker table. And who's to say the person didn't rent out that location strictly because Gil has a casino set up in that home and trying to put 2 and 2 together. And it's sad because this is where it gets dangerous. The suspected organized crime figure is linked to another illegal gambling spot in LA that's also the center of an investigation of a young mom who was last seen walking her dog after attending her son's high school football game. Her dog was last seen in downtown LA. and her Range Rover truck wasn't discovered until weeks later. But while in downtown LA, authorities believe she went to a local apartment complex to go to the illegal poker gambling spot. But then suddenly she vanished. Check out some surveillance footage, as you see above. Shortly after, the victim, who's identified as Heidi Plank, 38 years old, vanished on October 17, 2021. The dog wasn't just wandering outside in downtown LA. It was on the upper floor on 12th and Hope Street by itself, so close family knew that she was at that location. Months later, authorities confirmed she was deceased after looking at a landfill for her remains.
Wow.
And now you got this situation, strangely enough, connected to Gil.
Oh, and today investigators were out searching a landfill near Castaic, and they now believe that the West Los Angeles mother is dead. NBC4's I-Team was first to report a major break in this case, and joining us now, as you can see, is our investigative reporter, Eric Leonard, with what happened today. Eric?
Hi, Chuck. Dozens of LAPD officers and other investigators started to search for Heidi Plank's remains at this landfill this morning, and they've been focusing on a few specific areas. But the mystery here is far from over. Police tell us some sort of incident inside an apartment building in downtown LA caused Heidi Plank's death, but so far, no sign of her and no explanation from investigators as to what that incident may have been. This was the scene at dawn at the Chiquita Canyon landfill. Numerous investigators preparing for what could be a week-long search for a missing mom. Detectives from the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division putting on protective suits and boots to sift through potentially tons of trash by hand, searching for signs of Heidi Plank's body or other key evidence in the case. The city of LA brought in heavy excavators to dig in the places where trash from that downtown apartment building was transported. The LAPD now confirming forensic evidence found at the apartment building in downtown LA, where Plank was last seen several weeks ago and where her dog was found soon after, was a key clue that led to the landfill and the conclusion that Heidi Plank died probably the same day she disappeared.
And we need some answers. But we know for sure that there are some people that are not coming forward that know the truth.
Plank's ex-husband pleaded today directly to a group of 4 or 5 people who he says knows exactly what happened, how she died. Plank was last seen near that apartment building at 12th and Hope Streets on October 17th. Security video from her home shows her leaving with her dog earlier the same day. Plank's Range Rover SUV was found by police weeks ago in an underground parking lot near the building. Today, search dogs were brought to the landfill search site, with the hopes their specially trained noses could lead detectives to clues that could unravel the case that has Plank's family and friends desperate for answers.
We need somebody to step forward and please fill in some of the blanks.
Now, Plank's ex-husband,
he really does care a lot for her ex-husband. That's crazy.
Says,
do we care like that much for our ex-wife? If she, I don't know.
He's been caring for the couple's 11-year-old son and says through all of this, the family has been through a really rough time. And so has the family's network of friends who've been helping up to date into the search for Heidi Plank. He's now urging any of those key witnesses to come forward to call the LAPD with this information. He says his son just needs to know what happened. Reporting live, I'm investigative reporter.
So now we got a backstory on at least one of the defendants, the guy who the feds say is an alleged mobster. When it came to Gil's indictment, it was returned July 15th, and it was unsealed today. From September 2021 to July 2022, Gilbert and the other defendants operated an illegal gambling business. Arenas rented out an Ichino mansion he owned for the purpose.
That's like 10 months? They indicted, damn, he didn't even get a time to rock out. He did this for 10 months.
Was hosted high-stakes illegal poker games at Arenas' directions. Arthur Cass 51 of West Hollywood staged the mansion to host the games, found co-conspirators to host the games, and collected rent from the co-conspirators on Arenas' behalf. It then go on to say that the other 4 individuals, who were co-defendants, had managed illegal pot-limited Omaha poker games, among other illegal games, at the Ichino mansion, collected a rake, which is a fee the house charged from each pot, either as a percentage or a fixed amount per hand, and invited players to compete. The guy Gresham hired young women who, in exchange for tips, served drinks, provided massages, and offered companionship to the poker players. The women were charged a tax, a percentage of their earnings from working the games. Chefs, valets, and armed security guards were also hired to staff these illegal poker games. Gresham worked as a chip runner.
I ain't gonna lie. This party sounds kind of lit. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm trying to go. I ain't gonna lie. Is it illegal? I don't know if it's legal.
Which he track players' wins and losses, distribute poker chips.
Like, it's illegal to run one of these. Like, is it illegal to go? That's all I'm trying to figure out.
To players and pay employees. Gresham, an Israel citizen, also was charged along with Valentina Kojupari, 35 years old, of Woodlawn Hills, with 3 additional counts: a conspiracy to commit marriage fraud and making a false statement on immigration documents. In early 2022, Gresham conspired with Kojupari.
It's Gershman. I'm trying to figure out, is this an AI voice? Like, because you can't get away with that after the new YouTube laws are coming up. You're going to get your channel demonetized. Either you can't read or this is an AI voice.
Into a sham marriage.
Let me know in the comments.
Obtaining permanent legal status in the United States and lied to immigration authorities to procure legal status for Gresham. Who provided financial support in exchange for her participation in this sham marriage. Now, I know that was a lot, but it's safe to say Gilbert Arenas has just rented the place out. Whether he knew about the illegal funding, I'm not sure. And my guess is he'll probably tell you no, too. He did post a $50,000 bond 24 hours later after he was arrested. He posted the walk down the steps to his Instagram account with the following caption: "I'm back on the block like it's hot. This ain't got shit to do with me. Just rented the house. Wasn't a part of the festivities. Snitching Gil coming soon. 50 want to know the Mayweather of the court." Well, Gil pretty much told us how he feel and what he plan on doing, too. Now, as we wrap up, we do want to say once again, rest in peace to that victim and love and condolences.
He said, I ain't got nothing to do with this. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and talk about it. That was... Okay, so I've noticed that a lot of people doing content like this, they have a long roundabout way of telling you what's going on, and that is just time consuming. You could have just jumped on here real quick and been like, yo, Gil got arrested for woo. He only rented the house. He ain't do it though. So and he posted buy nice free. Like, we could learn all that in 5 minutes. Maybe I'm gonna start doing videos like that, because that was really annoying that we had to spend 24 minutes for him to talk real slow and mispronounce simple stuff like Heidi. Like, okay, but anyway, we're gonna keep it moving. Anyway, shout out to Gil. I'm glad you're not going to jail like that. You know what I mean? Because I was hoping he wasn't doing nothing too stupid. But hey, if you made it this far, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share to be aware. Put me in that album because I need to be there, man. I know there's 10 other streamers out there doing it like me, but
Fuck that little 10. I'm maxed out.